For it to be recognizable in the eyes of God, you can't get married again until the first.
To be recognizable in the eyes of God, you can't get married again until the first 1D. In a world where beliefs are constantly shifting, Pastor Gio Jennings stands firm, declaring his message with unwavering conviction. Goodbye forever to any compromise in his theology. Church is the biggest racket in the world, and the reason why you cannot see the racket going on in your church. You don't know the Bible. Known for his bold views on homosexuality, gender roles, and the prosperity gospel, Jennings has sparked controversy that resonates far beyond church walls as tensions rise and debates heat up. The question lingers: what does this finality in his stance mean for his followers and the future of uncompromising theology? Faith uncompromising theology. Gio Jennings is a name that often stirs up strong feelings, and for good reason. His uncompromising theology sets him apart in the world of modern Christianity. Jennings firmly believes in a strict interpretation of the Bible, which means he doesn't bend or twist Scripture to fit today's trends or societal changes. While many religious leaders adapt their messages to be more inclusive, Jennings stands his ground, insisting that the original teachings of the Bible must remain unchanged. At the heart of his theology is the belief that every word in the Bible is sacred and should be taken literally. This approach can be refreshing for those who to appreciate a clear and straightforward message. However, it can also be polarizing, especially in a world that increasingly values flexibility and acceptance of different lifestyles. Jennings's views on issues like same-sex marriage and divorce often lead to heated discussions, as he categorically opposes both, claiming they go against God's design. One of the most striking aspects of Jennings's theology is his rejection of the traditional Christian doctrine of the Trinity. Instead, he advocates for a non-Trinitarian in view, which places him at odds with many mainstream Christian denominations. This bold stance has earned him a loyal following, but it has also attracted criticism from those who believe his interpretations are too rigid. Jennings doesn't shy away from expressing his beliefs publicly. He often engages in debates with other religious leaders, challenging their more modern interpretations of Scripture. This willingness to confront his peers has made him a controversial figure, but it has also brought attention to his ministry. His supporters appreciate his dedication to what they see as the true message of Christianity in a world where many seek a middle ground. Jennings's uncompromising theology serves as a reminder that not everyone is willing to compromise their beliefs for better or worse. His strong stance has created ripples in the religious community, prompting followers and critics alike to reflect on what they truly believe. Whether you agree with him or not, there's no denying that Jennings's approach sparks conversation and challenges the status. Controversial views on homosexuality. Gio Jennings has made headlines for his controversial views on homosexuality, a topic that sparks intense debates in both religious and social circles. For Jennings, the Bible is clear. He believes that homosexuality is a sin and goes against God's plan for human relationships. This stance has not only defined his ministry but has also put him at the center of heated discussions. In a world that increasingly embraces diversity and acceptance, Jennings stands firm in his belief that there is no room for compromise. He often refers to Scripture to support his views, claiming that the Bible explicitly condemns homosexual acts. This literal interpretation resonates with many of his followers who appreciate his straightforward approach. They see him as a defender of traditional values in a time when those values seem to be under attack. However, Jennings' views have also drawn significant criticism. Many people, including fellow Christians, argue that His stance is outdated and harmful. They believe that love and acceptance should be at the core of Christianity rather than judgment and condemnation. Critics argue that his teachings contribute to the stigma faced by LGBTQ+ individuals, leading to feelings of rejection and isolation in public discussions. Jennings is unyielding. He often challenges other religious leaders who promote a more inclusive message, insisting that they are misleading their congregations. This has led to criticism of gender roles. Acceptance. Criticism of gender roles. Gio Jennings has strong opinions about gender roles, and his views have sparked a lot of discussions. He believes that men and women have specific roles in society and, more importantly, in the church. For Jennings, these roles are not just social constructs, they are rooted in biblical teachings. He argues that the Bible outlines clear distinctions between what men and women should do, and he is not afraid to voice his beliefs. In Jennings's view, men are meant to be leaders and providers. He emphasizes that men should take charge of their families and lead them spiritually. This traditional view of masculinity resonates with many of his followers who appreciate the clarity and authority it brings. They see it as a way to restore order in a world that feels chaotic and confusing. On the other hand, Jennings has been vocal about his beliefs regarding women's roles. He teaches that women should dress modestly and avoid things like makeup and jewelry, which he believes can distract from their spiritual focus. Furthermore, he opposes women taking on leadership roles within the church. This perspective has drawn significant criticism from those who advocate for equality and believe that women should have the same opportunities as men, both in the church and in society. Critics argue that Jennings's views reinforce outdated stereotypes and limit women's potential. They believe that women can be both strong leaders and devoted followers of faith. Many feel that his teachings contribute to a culture that undervalues women's contributions outside traditional roles. This has led to a pushback, with some people calling for a more inclusive interpretation of Scripture that recognizes the value of women in all aspects of life. Despite the backlash, Jennings stands firm in his beliefs. He often challenges those who disagree with him, insisting that his views align with what the Bible teaches. His critics argue that his ideas are harmful, while his supporters see them as a necessary return to traditional values. Gio Jennings's criticism of gender roles has sparked important conversations about the place of men and women in society and the church. Whether one agrees or disagrees with him, it is clear that his views encourage people to think deeply about gender, faith, and their roles in the public disputes with other leaders. World public disputes with other leaders. Gio Jennings is no stranger to public disputes with other religious leaders, and these confrontations often grab headlines. His strong beliefs and unwillingness to back down from his views have led to some memorable exchanges that highlight the differences in how people interpret faith in Scripture. One of the most notable clashes was with T.D. Jakes, a well-known pastor who has a large following and a more modern interpretation of Christianity. Jennings strongly disagrees with Jakes' views on the Trinity, arguing that his teachings mislead people about the true nature of God. This disagreement has led Jennings to challenge Jakes, publicly calling for debates to discuss their differing beliefs. While such discussions have not taken place, the tension between them keeps their followers engaged and invested in the conversation. Another high-profile dispute occurred when Jennings faced off against Jamaican artist Mr. Vegas. The two engaged in a rep discussion about women's roles and attire in the church. Jennings staunchly defended his belief that women should dress modestly and avoid certain styles, while Mr. Vegas argued for personal expression and freedom. This debate escalated to the point where Mr. Vegas was escorted out of the venue, showcasing how passionately both sides felt about their beliefs. These public disputes have made Jennings a polarizing figure some people admire. His courage to confront other leaders and openly discuss controversial topics. They see him as a protector of traditional values in a rapidly changing world. Others, however, criticize him for being too confrontational and unyielding. They argue that his approach creates division rather than fostering unity among believers. Despite the backlash, Jennings remains steadfast in his beliefs and continues to engage in believes that it places too much emphasis on material wealth, which can lead people astray from what really matters in life instead of seeking a deeper relationship with God. Jennings argues that followers of this teaching may become obsessed with getting rich. He often reminds his audience that true faith should not be about what we can gain, but about serving God and others. In his sermons, Jennings frequently points to Scripture, arguing that Jesus did not promise wealth to his followers. Instead, Jesus spoke about sacrifice, humility, and the importance of helping those in need. Jennings believes that the prosperity gospel misrepresents these core teachings, leading many to believe that financial success is a sign of God's favor. He warns that this mindset can create disappointment and confusion when life does not go as planned. Jennings's opposition to the prosperity gospel has made him a controversial figure. Some people appreciate his commitment to traditional values and his insistence on focusing on spiritual rather than material wealth. Others, however, criticize him for being too rigid and not understanding the hopes and dreams of people who seek financial stability. Despite the criticism, Jennings continues to speak out against the prosperity gospel, believing it is his duty to guide people back to the true message of Christianity. Through his passionate teachings, he challenges his followers to look beyond wealth and seek a genuine relationship with God. For Jennings, the path to true fulfillment lies not in riches but in faith, service, and love for one another. Media representation and backlash. Gio Jennings has become a well-known figure not just in the religious community but also in the media. His media representation is often mixed, reflecting both support and criticism. Jennings's strong opinions on topics like homosexuality, gender roles, and the prosperity gospel have caught the attention of journalists, bloggers, and social media users. While some portray him as a bold defender of traditional values, others label him as controversial or even extreme. The media coverage of Jennings often highlights his confrontational style and willingness to challenge other religious leaders. This has led to a backlash from those who disagree with him. Critics argue that his views contribute to a culture of intolerance and that his rhetoric can be harmful, especially to marginalized groups. They believe that his teachings can alienate people who are seeking acceptance and understanding in their faith. Jennings's direct and sometimes inflammatory statements have also led to negative portrayals in various outlets. Some articles and segments focus on his more controversial remarks, which can overshadow his more positive message about faith and community. This selective representation can create a one-sided view of his ministry, leading to misunderstandings about his true intentions. On the other hand, Jennings has a loyal following that appreciates his unapologetic approach. His supporters argue that the media often misrepresents him, focusing on sensational aspects rather than his core message of spiritual growth and devotion to God. They believe that Jennings is merely standing up for what he sees as the truth, and they value his consistency in a world that can seem confusing and contradictory. Despite the backlash, Jennings continues to speak out through various media channels, including social media. He uses these platforms to share his beliefs and engage with both supporters and critics. His ability to spark conversation, whether positive or negative, shows that he is a significant figure in today's religious landscape. Global reach and influence. Influence is his use of modern technology. He leverages social media platforms, streaming services, and YouTube to share his sermons with millions of people around the world. These tools allow him to connect with audiences who may not have access to traditional church services. His online presence helps him spread his teachings widely and engage with followers in real time, fostering a sense of community among those who support his views. Jennings's message often emphasizes a return to traditional Christian values, which appeals to many individuals searching for clarity and purpose in their lives. His strong stance against modern interpretations of Christianity, such as the prosperity gospel, resonates with those who feel disillusioned by contemporary teachings. Many followers appreciate his straightforward approach and dedication to what he believes to be the true essence of faith. His global influence has also led to the establishment of branches of his ministry in various countries. These branches serve as hubs for like-minded believers, creating a supportive environment for those who share his views during events and conferences. Jennings often travels to connect with his international followers, further strengthening their commitment to his teachings. However, with this global reach comes criticism. Some people argue that his rigid beliefs can create division within the Christian community. Despite the backlash, Jennings remains focused on his mission, believing that he is fulfilling a calling to guide people back to what he sees as the true teachings of the Bible. Travel restrictions and censorship. Restrictions and censorship in a world that is increasingly connected. Travel restrictions and censorship can significantly impact individuals and organizations, including religious leaders like Gio Jennings, as he has gained global influence. His strong beliefs have sometimes put him at odds with authorities in different countries. This has led to challenges that affect his ability to travel and share his message with followers abroad. Travel restrictions can arise for various reasons. In some places, government officials may view Jennings's teachings as controversial or divisive. As a result, they may impose restrictions on his ability to speak or hold events. This can be frustrating for Jennings and his followers, who see these limitations as an obstacle to spreading their beliefs. For them, sharing their faith is not just a personal mission, it is a way to connect with others who share their values. Censorship can also play a role in how Jennings' message is received around the world. In certain countries, the government may control what information is allowed to be shared publicly. This can include limiting access to religious content that does not align with the state's views. As a result, Jennings's sermons or materials may not reach audiences that could benefit from his teachings. Despite these challenges, Jennings remains determined to find ways to connect with his followers. He often uses online platforms to bypass traditional barriers, ensuring that his message can still reach those who seek it. Social media, live streaming, and video sharing sites allow him to spread his beliefs far and wide, even when physical travel is restricted. However, this reliance on digital interpretations of the Bible and varying beliefs about God have led to the formation of numerous denominations. This division can create challenges for believers who seek unity in a faith that is meant to promote love and togetherness. One figure who embodies this division is Gio Jennings. His uncompromising views on issues like gender roles have set him apart from many mainstream Christian leaders. While some people admire his boldness, others criticize him for creating further divides within the church. Jennings's teachings often reject modern interpretations of Christianity, insisting that true faith must adhere to traditional values. This has resonated with many followers who feel lost in a world of changing beliefs. However, his strong stance has also alienated others. He is God alone, made the earth by his power, established the world by his wisdom, and stretched both the heavens. Many Christians believe that the church should be a place of acceptance and love for all individuals regardless of their background or lifestyle. The clash between Jennings's rigid beliefs and the more inclusive messages from other leaders highlights a growing divide within the faith. This division can lead to misunderstandings, hurt feelings, and a sense of separation among those who share the same core belief in Jesus. The legacy of division is further complicated by social and cultural factors. In a world that values diversity and inclusion, some Christians struggle to reconcile their faith with modern views on gender, sexuality, and personal freedom. This tension often leads to heated debates as groups within Christianity seek for their interpretations to be recognized as valid. Despite the challenges, there is hope for healing within the Christian community. Many leaders and congregations are working towards fostering dialogue and understanding among different beliefs by focusing on what unites them: shared faith in Jesus and the call to love one another. Believers can begin to